New Lord of the Rings 2026. Yes, apparently there's a new Lord of the Rings movie coming in 2026. That's not that far away, and it's going to be from Peter Jackson and Andy Serkis. Cool, man. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes arrives today. We'll talk about that. I'll do my full review. A second trailer for A Quiet Place Day 1 dropped. We'll talk about the Twisters 2 trailer. Chris Pine talks about Star Trek 4. Brad Pitt's Formula 1 movie is getting really out of hand in terms of the budget. Oh my God, we got a bunch of horror movie news headlines to get through. It's going to be a big day in the realm of movie news, guys. But let's start off today's show by talking about the breaking headline: the new Lord of the Rings movie in 2026. Peter Jackson working on new Lord of the Rings films for Warner Bros., targeting 2026 debut. The company is now in the early stages of script development. Early stages, huh? It would seem like you wouldn't want to announce this until maybe you had a completed first draft? Yeah, this is what's wrong with a little bit of Hollywood these days, is that there's this disconnect of kind of like, if we announce it now, we'll build up hype. How about you get the product that you want formulated first before you say and tell it to the rest of us, right? Like, get the script ready. Peter Jackson returning, but not directing, apparently. From what I understand, it's going to be Andy Serkis directing, which gives me pause, and I'll tell you why in just a few minutes. The first film from New Line Cinema and Warner Bros. Will be called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, with Andy Serkis set to star and direct the feature. Well, he plays Gollum, so of course he would be in it. But Andy Serkis directing the first movie gives me a little bit of hesitation, because he directed the last Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage, and that didn't turn out so well. I had fun with it, I guess, during the theater experience, but I've never thought about ever going back to it. I never thought about, saying, I need to, not even the final fight was all that fantastic. And it kind of sucks, because you got Woody Harrelson there, and it's like, just let Woody Harrelson do his thing, man. And it was kind of like held back. So Andy Serkis has kind of stumbled out of the gate a little bit in terms of his directing. So that's why I say it gives me pause. Now, he knows this material. He knows the Gollum character like the back of his hand, right? So I'd be okay with that. But do we need a prequel? Really? The Lord of the Rings trilogy did such a masterful job of articulating Gollum's story already. It was fun to see him pop up in The Hobbit, but the hunt for Gollum, I guess this would take place between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Is it necessary, guys? I don't know. Zaslav says that director Peter Jackson and his lifelong writing partners, Fran Walsh and Philippa Bowens, will be involved in every step of the way. Bowens and Walsh will write the screenplay. Okay, the deal covers 2 films. As long as they keep it with 2 films, guys. Don't try to stretch the material into 3 films like you did with The Hobbit. Because even Peter Jackson himself admits doing that was a bit of a mistake. It would have been so much tighter if they did it in 2 films. There's so much about The Hobbit that I like, but it's such a drudging task to get through all of it, because it's padded with a lot of fluff. So let's just take a look at this quote here from Jackson, Bowens, and Walsh. "It's an honor and a privilege to travel back to Middle-earth with our good friend and collaborator, Andy Serkis, who has unfinished business with that stinker Gollum. As lifelong fans of Professor Tolkien's vast mythology, we are proud to be working with Mike DeLuca, Pam Apty, and the entire team at Warner Bros. On another epic adventure. So this is splashed all over the trades today, guys. This is the big headline. That's why we're leading off with it. Warner Bros. To release first new Lord of the Rings movie, The Hunt for Gollum, in 2026. Peter Jackson. Yes. So, it was a tragic tale what happened to Gollum, I suppose, maybe. Okay. Guys, I'll tell you this. If you don't know our channel here, we did the full live reactions for the Rings of Power series, and I actually liked it. And I admitted that it was like rough to get out of the gate. Like the first 3 or 4 episodes are really hard to get into. But then once you get into like the bulk of that story, it's fine. It was nice being back in that world. That's what I would say. Bye for in the live chat says hi. Yeah, guys, we do this live if you didn't know. So going back to Middle Earth, it'll be nice to get back into that world on a cinematic level too, right? Is Gollum the first place that I would want to go? Not really, but we've got a pedigree here of producers from Peter Jackson and writers, right? So it's going to have a very familiar tone, I would say. Or at least that I would hope. That's what I'm taking away from this. Yeah, slated for 2026. So that means that they would have to probably get into production later this year, guys. But if they're just in the early stages of writing the script, if you don't know Peter Jackson's work ethic, like he does a lot of work, like from day in to day out, but he moves at a snail's pace. I mean, he just takes time to craft his work, which I guess is no problem. But I'm highly doubtful about the 2026 release date. So you heard my concerns about it. You heard what I thought about it. Are you excited for a new Lord of the Rings movie in 2026? All about Gollum. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we will talk about it. Hey, there are my other social media handles where you can follow me and see some behind-the-scenes stuff on Twitch and Instagram. And extended versions of all those ranked videos that we post on, like my favorite movies of April and different months and stuff like that. Hey, we talk about movies here all the time, guys. So if you like it, come join us here in the live chat and talk some upcoming movie news headlines. Okay, so Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes arrives. Let's get ready for my formal review here, because I got a lot to say, and I'm gonna keep it spoiler free. Don't worry. I'm not gonna be one of those people that feels the need to publish a spoiler free and a spoiler discussion. There's not really much to spoil about this. You know that some kind of a quest goes on. Do you think they complete the quest? Yes. Do they run into some bad guys? Yes. Do they get beat up? Do they defeat the bad guy at the end? Yes. So it's not really that spoilery kind of thing, right? It's not one of those types of movies. But it is going to be in contention for one of my favorite movies of the year, which reminds me, I want to bring up a Dune 2 worm scene. Let's bring up that. Okay. Yeah, this will be cut out and put out up on the channel later on, guys. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a good movie, man. It's a good installment in this franchise. It's out in theaters this weekend. It's a touch long with 2 hours and 25 minutes, but it goes by really quick. The pacing of this movie is very, very fast. Many years after the reign of Caesar, a young ape goes on a journey that will lead him to question everything he's been taught about the past and make choices that will define a future for apes and humans alike, directed by Wes Ball. So, guys, if you saw the trailers for this, you kind of got an idea of what this is going to be about, kind of thing. It's awesome. It's breathtaking in its execution. You'll notice right away the computers have a better rendering of like the textures of the fur and the face. Like, it looks real. Like, there was a couple of times where I'm like, this looks real. I'm blown away here. The characters, you actually care about these characters. You get to learn about these characters. And that's something that Wes Ball does great, is that he takes time to establish who they are and what the stakes are. And he also does a great job of establishing the world now that they live in, letting you know that this is a long time after the events of Caesar. And I gotta say, it's a spectacle to see on the big screen. This is something where it's like, everybody thought that Dune Part 2, as awesome as it is, was going to be like, there's no way, Dune Part 2 has got to be best visual effects of the year, hands down, right, guys? I mean, when those worms came out, it was just like, wow. Yes, and indeed it was wow. But this Apes movie is a different type of wow. This is... This feels like they were going for the realism, and you totally buy into it. So, if you don't know, the new character in this is not Caesar's son or anything like that. There is a character named Proxima Caesar, played by Kevin Durand, who doesn't show up until like much later in the film, and normally that would be a bad thing. Oh, the bad guy doesn't show up until like the last 30 minutes. But the way that the story is crafted and told, it makes sense why he doesn't show up till later. And it's okay that he doesn't, because it's not really about him, right? There's a lot more of a sinister thing going on in the background. When I watched this, if you watched Apocalypto from Mel Gibson, that's what I got from this. It was very much like that. And I'm telling you that just so you know what kind of tone it is when you're getting into it. As I said, it's a touch long. It does take time in the middle for some character development. Raka, I think his name is there. You see on the far right, is a really interesting character. Freya Allen is May. Who plays Raka? Peter McCann. So there's voices in here, and you're like, they sound familiar. I don't know who they are, but it fits, and the expressions that they have, like Raka and Noah, Owen Teague, like it's good work, man. It's really good work, and I can't champion going to see it in the theater. Go see it on the big sound. The soundtrack for this is stunning. It immerses you into it. Like, this is a movie soundtrack where you're just like, okay, it's got hints of kind of like that whistling sound that you hear in like War of the Planet of the Apes. And speaking of which, this movie does a fantastic job of paying homage to the other Apes movies, where if you're caught up in the lore of it all, you'll know where the nods to Caesar are and stuff like that. And then in War of the Planet of the Apes, there's like a human relationship there that they have with a young girl. If you know that kind of thing, it ties into those themes, which I really liked. So, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, thumbs up in my book. As I said in my straight out of the theater reaction, it's going to be in contention for one of the best movies of the year. Now, I still think right now Dune Part 2 is the better movie, but it's easily number 2. Like, it's very close behind. Like, there is a conversation to be had. Is it a better movie? Let's go over to my score sheet and put in some preliminary numbers here. And then we'll go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying. So, acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of a possible 1 point each. Acting. Guys, I'm going to give this a full 2. And you'll know why when you see the movie. Because it's just not Noah's character. It's the girl there. It's Raka. And even when Kevin Durant shows up, it's like, wow. And what I'm excited about is that they're going to release a version of this movie where you actually get to see the actors with their motion capture stuff on doing the scenes. That's what I want to see. And the fact that they did that pays off in the way that this comes out. Like the execution of the technical stuff is fantastic. So I'll give directing a full point based on that. Execution of the story, I'll give an extra point. Now, because as I said, there is some pacing issues there perhaps in the middle that some people will be like, I don't know if I like this, but it takes time to breathe. And I think upon a second viewing, you will appreciate those scenes a lot more because those scenes help build the world up and set things up for like in your head where it's like, well, if that happened, what else happened, right? And it kind of leaves the door open, perhaps, more to happen within this new setting that the Apes movies will be moving in towards. So for that, I also give the story a full 1.5. Cinematography, guys, absolutely breathtaking. Absolutely breathtaking. I'll give that a full point. And I'm going to give the score a full point, too. This is the kind of soundtrack where you would be like, I want to own that soundtrack. I want to own it. I totally listen to this soundtrack just in the background one day. That's how good it is. So that is my early rankings for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. We're sitting out around a 7 out of 10 right now. Let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying because I am very curious. As of right now, guys, 109 reviews, 83%. It is certified fresh. Yes, it totally is, and it's worth it. It's totally worth it. From West Ball, May 10th, guys. Go see it. I would be tempted to go see this in the IMAX. But the early fan screening event that they had for us was not in the IMAX. And I totally expect the audience numbers to be very similar, within the same range, because it's like Avatar. It's like you'll just come out of this going, I'm just wow, I'm bamboozled. I gotta watch this movie again. Okay, so let's take a look at Richard Krause. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is jam-packed with big ideas and even bigger action scenes, but feels intimate because of its emotional content. Yeah, because you care about the characters. Noah's character is very attached to the planet, to Earth. So I am. Like, if you believe in Gaia theory and stuff like that, being with animals, right? And I guess I agree with that. Somebody here says spectacularly pointless. Nah, don't. See, now that's just. Why do you need a quote like that? Give us a little bit more depth. Jeremy Johns didn't like it? What? When the last act, the big conflict, the master plan is going down, it was entertaining, but leading up to it was kind of a snooze. So there you go. From untrusted reviewer, Jeremy Johns, saying, remember I said that there were some issues with the pacing? That didn't work for some people, but it did for me. It did for me. Because it was kind of like, I want to figure out what's going on in this universe, right? New York Post, as much as Kingdom borrows from its 1968 film, Ball has also clearly influenced by what's come since in the genre. Yes, you can tell that he definitely did his homework from the other 3 movies. Totally. I want one of those pendants. Yeah. San Francisco Chronicle didn't like it. Until this franchise stops mistaking its stone-cold misanthropy for political virtue, this franchise... What are you talking about? Why are you... Yeah. So that guy's like, you scream like you're hurt politically, like you don't care about. What are you doing? Yeah. It doesn't sound like he's a movie fan. So this is why we look at these snapshot reviews, guys, is because we're trying to get a measure of like a read of the room. 3C Films, we trust his opinions, don't we? A truly impressive and worthy follow-up to the last trilogy, rich with emotions, interesting characters, and very compelling story. I was fully immersed and in awe of all of it. And it said last trilogy. That's a good point there that I want to talk about too. The last, I would say this is going to be, obviously, because we're taking it generations after the Caesar timeline. This is a good launching point to start a new trilogy. And it's very good at making you aware of that, right? Of like, okay, all of those other characters that we knew before, here's some nods to them. But this is a brand new story. And it's haunting where it's gonna, like, where it's pointing towards, because it's kind of like, all right, if there's a human there, she's talking. I thought the virus was gonna wipe them all out, like wipe us all out from talking. Why is that happening, right? So there's some very interesting questions in there that I hope they set up, and we'll talk more, explore more in the sequel to this. Alonso Duralde didn't like it. An intermittently entertaining but ultimately fruitless exercise in franchise expansion. See, again, when you say something like that, it makes me feel like you've had this preconceived notion of what you thought the movie was supposed to be, right? And when it wasn't that, then you're like, meh, I don't want to watch it anymore. And it's like, I don't have time for that kind of stuff, guys. I'm sorry that I had to read your comment because of that. Is there anybody else here that I want to pull off and take a look at the reviews? I don't think so. I think we've covered it all. You got a good mix, right? Yeah, it's got to be in the top 5 interesting movies of the year for me right now, and it's sitting at probably the second. There's a lot to explore. There totally is. And if I were to be writing the sequel, I know where I would be starting the second movie right off the bat, right there, with that guy. Because there's something there that could happen, that might have happened, that doesn't really fully get explained in this movie, but they've left the door open for more. I'll talk spoilers a little bit towards after I wrap everything up. And it's not, as I said, this is not a movie where you can really spoil a whole lot of things. You know that they're going on a quest of some kind, right? You know they're looking for things, and there's some bad apes that are rounding people up, and very much like Apocalypto type style. So they find them. Do you think he gets defeated? Is that a spoiler? But what is he doing? Right? What's Proximus doing? It does pose some interesting questions. So if you haven't seen it, guys, I totally recommend that you go out and check it out, because it's a spectacle for sure. It's something that you'll be like, I'm glad that I went to the theater to see that movie, because this is why we go to movies. So we're wowed by it. Let's wrap up my score sheet, and let's see where I land for my final score here for watchability factor. If you like the other Apes movies, you want to check this out for sure. I would totally own this movie on 4K Blu-ray. I totally would. Yeah, so I'm going to give the watchability a full 2 points. 9 out of 10. Wow. Yeah, that's where I'm going to land. I feel good with that score. I'm higher than the critics. 9 out of 10 on the tomato meter. I'm much more higher. 9 out of 10. I feel good about that. And I'm acknowledging some of the story and pacing problems in the middle, but guys, the visual effects, the score, the sweeping cinematography in this, I can't champion it enough, guys. It's something that you got to go check out. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. All right. If you like talking about movies and stuff, guys, come join us here on Mirror Domains, because we do other things like take a look at, we looked at that new Superman suit. We do trailer reactions for Deadpool and Wolverine, Megalopolis, Quiet Place Day One, Acolyte trailer that just dropped. We do movie reviews for all the movies that come out in the theaters, Fall Guy, Tarot, Boy Kills World. We do series reactions for Fallout and Reacher. And of course, then we do movie news headlines throughout the week, where we talk about all the trending movie news headlines of the day. So if you like movies, you'll like it here on Mirror Domains. All right. So we will talk just a little minor spoiler after we take a few comments here, but I don't think we have any comments in the live chat. No, we don't. So, yeah, I hinted about this in my little video, formal review. What's Proximus after? And if we've seen from the trailers that there's this big kind of ship, and they're like digging on the beach. There's like a bunker that they're trying to get into, like a fallout shelter kind of thing. And he thinks that there's like some kind of, I don't know if it's science in there that'll help him expand his brain, like make him become smarter, like knowledge, right? But there's also this storyline of kind of like, there also could be weapons in there. And that's more sinister. Because if you give somebody like Proximus weapons, then he becomes much more lethal, right? Because apes just, while they talk and have domesticated animals so that they can ride it and such, and they've cultivated earth and stuff, for farming, they still haven't figured out all the nuances of the technology and stuff, right? So there's a much more sinister thing going on in the background, in the back of Proximus's mind, that I think some people would feel like doesn't get fully explored, perhaps. But as I said, if you watched Apocalypto, it's very much like that. So that's worthwhile seeing. And then, of course, the girl Nova that shows up in this. If you've never watched War of the Planet of the Apes, you know that young girl in that movie was called Nova. So any female humans that the apes come across, they all call her Nova. Like that's how they pay nods to the prequel, like the other three. That's how they do it. And then, of course, the whole question is, what's she up to, right? She's up to something. Do you trust her? Do you believe her? Why is she able to talk, and the others aren't? And there's a couple of scenes that, like, they showed it in the trailer, right? This scene where they get all the humans. They round up humans while they're drinking water, and they do a good job of making the humans feel like animals, like they don't have thought, like they're very instinctual. So when they're running scared and stuff, it's kind of like you feel like you could go up and talk to them and have a conversation, but they wouldn't understand a thing they're saying, right? They did a very good job of explaining that, which made it fascinating, at least for me. At least for me. All right, that's my review. Let's go on and continue talking about more movie news. Chris Schober says, did you hear about the news about Jon Favreau said the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that might include Luke Skywalker? He might have a major... I don't... my excitement for Star Wars is because of the Acolyte, I guess. The Acolyte kind of took all the wind out of my sails. The trailer just kind of like, meh. It's rumored, so take it with a grain of salt, Chris says. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there, man. Chris Rover says, are they making another sequel to the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? I don't know. We'll see how well this one does at the box office. That's something I didn't pull up in mine in my review there. I forgot to. I was going to do that. Uh, let's see. Fall Guy had a $27 million opening. It's going to fall down to probably around 12 to 15 million. And then Kingdom will be there. So, and then next week there's a horror movie, couple horror movies opening up, right? And then in 2 weeks, Furiosa opens up. So it'll have like 2 weeks, a full good 2 weeks to run some stuff. I wanted to talk about this, and I forgot about this in my review. So maybe I'll try to insert this. The visual effects made me think about that Tim Burton film where they put makeup on stuff on them. It's like, imagine if Tim Burton had the CGI technologies today to go back and make the movie now. Because as it looks real, man. This looks like it's just makeup kind of thing, right? Which looks good on some of the characters, but like when the apes in the new movie are doing stuff, it's the way that the light shines off their fur kind of thing. The small screen here doesn't do it justice. When you see it on the big screen, it's like it feels like you can reach out and touch them. That's how good it's done. So, yeah. All right, let's move on. Got a lot of stuff to get through today. Where are we at? A Quiet Place, Day 1, comes out June 28th. And the second trailer for it just dropped. And I did a full reaction that's up on the channel right now, guys. The audio in it was a bit odd for me, though. And I don't know if it was because OBS had a bit of an audio problem. But they whisper a lot in this because, well, you can't make a whole lot of sound. So I think they might have boosted the audio a little bit for this trailer, so it sounds a little bit funny at times, but I like the tone of it. I like doomsday scenario situations. Joseph Quinn is really showcased in this second trailer, which is fine by me, because I said in my reaction is that I was worried that he would just be kind of like a throwaway character, but it looks like he's going to survive for maybe a little bit more than 10 minutes. I do expect a lot of bloodshed. I do expect a lot of bloodshed in this. A big body count. Maybe he won't get out of the first 10 minutes. Who knows? But A Quiet Place Day 1, I like what I saw in the trailer. You got notes of like War of the Worlds, the opening of that movie kind of thing, right? We see like strange weather and meteorites coming down, and then all of a sudden these things kind of explode up and just start to wreak havoc, right? Like that's very, very War of the Worldsy right there. So I like that tone, and yeah, this shot, and you can see them crawling up all the buildings and stuff very fast. Like they're fast. There's something insectilian about that, right? What do you call it? Insecticons or whatever? I don't know. So yeah, there's another shot of Joseph Quinn and Lupita Nyong'o there. I like what I saw in this trailer, man. I don't know who that is. Who's all in this movie? Let's just take a look at the IMDb. We know Jaimin Hansu comes in at some point. He's in Quiet Place Part 2, right? Henry. Alex Wolff, he's the guy that was in Hereditary. Thea Butler. Nobody else that really jumps off the page at me there. But I'm sure it's a solid cast. Who's Thea in? Why does that name sound vaguely familiar to me? The Last Union. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom uncredited, so she was a background character. So it seems like she'll be a background character in this one, perhaps. I don't know. You're watching it because I'm watching it because of Lapita and because of the scenario, because of you know, it's hitting the fan, and I like to see. I like to be in that tone of how does it feel, kind of thing. Sound design, like, yeah, as I said, they were whispering, but it feels like they boosted the audio for it. But I'm sure that won't be an issue in the theater, guys. When you see this in the theater, very effective second trailer for A Quiet Place, day one. What did you guys think about it? Did you check it out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we will talk about it. Bifer in the live chat says, I have only seen the Tim Burton's Apes movies. Do I need to watch the Matt Reeves movies before watching the Wes Ball Apes movie? Well, you have to know what happened, at least. Like how the virus made the apes smarter, right? And us. Well, I guess they cover that too. But if you haven't, Matt Reeves, my God, if you like the Batman, you thought that was well crafted, you're going to love what he did with the Planet of the Apes, because they were trying to cure Alzheimer's or whatever, right? And trying to recover memory up here. So it was made by honest intention, and it's so well crafted with the way Caesar's arc in those movies goes. And masterfully done by Andy Serkis. I really like War of the Planet of the Apes. I need to go back and watch Dawn of the Planet of the Apes again before I do my rankings. So I'm going to try to watch that again sometime today, perhaps, or before tomorrow at least, to get out a ranking video, or I'll just maybe do a quick recap of it. We'll see that. But it just enhances your knowledge, right? Chris Schober says, have you seen the official trailer for Latency trailer? Yeah, James, it just dropped on YouTube yesterday. Latency. I don't know. Who is in that Latency? Oh, yeah, that was the one with the girl's teeth. Live from Lionsgate. I didn't watch it, but I must have skimmed it at one point. Or no. Or did I watch this on the trailer for, or on Tarot? Was this on Tarot? Latency. I don't know. Geek Ledger says Rupert Wyatt directed Rise and Matt Reeves did Dawn and War. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you just kind of have to know a little bit about like how it all happened, kind of thing. But other than that, if you didn't know who Caesar is, like, there's going to be parts of the story that'll be like they'll be talking about Caesar and stuff, and you won't understand the amulet. Let me pull up my poster again. That Raka wears. See, the orangutan has got an amulet. You won't understand stuff like that, because that just goes to Caesar, and it hits you here. Because if you know what that represents, that symbol, and it's peppered throughout the movie. That's how well Wes Ball crafted this movie. Yeah, there's that symbol shows up throughout the movie, and it's heartbreaking what that symbol actually means. And you see it painted there on the back of on that ship. Yeah, there's little things like that make it worthwhile to watch the other ones. James, are you a fan of Chuck Norris? Meh, not really. I saw that trailer, by the way, too, Chris. It looked it looked like a throwback to like those 80 actioners, like like Iron Eagle. Um, Agent Retcon, yeah, very, yeah, he's like a robot or something. You know, like, see how his eyes were flickering, uh, and there's like this compound that they've got to go inside to complete one last mission, an unthinkable threat, and yeah, if you pound a few, want to watch an action flick on the weekend, Chuck Norris, you know, he's not a great actor, but he knew action. I was a little bit curious about it, though, because he said when they were approaching him to be in the Expendables movies, he said, I don't want to be seen firing a gun anymore because I don't condone violence. Well, I guess that got thrown out the door. Remember, he's like in his late 70s now, isn't he? How old is Chuck Norris? Uh, 84. Yeah, so see, this is what he should look like. That's what he looks like. So to see him here, it's kind of like, you know, he's obviously colored his beard. But yeah, it looks like American Ninja style. Hey, we just shot this on the back lot somewhere. Whatever kind of thing, right? Hey, as I said, if you want to watch it on the weekend, pound a few, grab a six-pack. Mark Singer, the Beastmaster himself. It could be that kind of fun, right? Hey, so if the trailer worked for you, cool. What's next? As I said, we've got a lot of stuff to get into today. Twisters. They dropped a new trailer yesterday. Twisters stars Glenn Powell, who apparently is going to be in talks to star in J.J. Abrams' next film. Glenn Powell is. Wow. He's going to be seen in Netflix's Hitman, and we might do a full live reaction to Hitman when it comes out on Netflix. But the second trailer for Twisters dropped yesterday, and because it's Universal, guys, that one always, Universal flags everything. So it's kind of like hard to do reactions to that without getting a little slap on the wrists. Working with J.J. Abrams, for casual movie fans, yay! Remember, J.J. Abrams delivers always good movies, right? Right? For us seasoned movie fans, he's hit or miss. More on the side of misses than hits. I understand a lot of people like the first Star Trek movie, and then it kind of went downhill after that. A lot of people liked Force Awakens. Rise of Skywalker has got to be one of the grotesque abominations of the last decade that has ever come out. I don't understand how anybody could watch that film for a second time. I watched it in theater because I'm a big Star Wars fan, but it's got to be one of the worst films ever made. It just does. Yeah. So his trajectory has been going down in crafting films. He's got his mystery box, and that's about it. And people see that now. Ooh, J.J. Abrams mystery box. But for casual fans, oh, I like Force Awakens. I like Star Trek, right? So he's a great director. Well, until you actually take a look at his resume and his style. His style resonates through all of his projects. And I'm not talking just about the lens flares. I mean the way he executes his stories. And he doesn't really have a whole lot on his plate. And you're like, well, why not? He's got Demamonde, that TV series that I don't think is going to happen because he wanted like a 200 million plus budget to make that happen. And then I heard that it was going to get scrapped. So I expect that to come off the slate. Duster, whatever the heck that is. So he hasn't really done a whole, like, he's produced stuff. He's produced a lot of stuff, like a lot of TV stuff, and that's what he's been doing. But as far as him getting behind the camera again, I'm not all that interested. Glenn Powell, though, is a good actor. He's got a lot of range and versatility from what I understand. He can do the rom-coms with like Sydney Sweeney and stuff. And then, of course, he's going to be in that upcoming Twisters movie with Daisy Edgar Jones, in which I just published a quick little video about that the other day, which is getting a little bit of traction. I'm happy about that. You know that the visual effects in Twisters is going to be ramped up, right? My fear, there she is. She's awesome. Daisy Edgar Jones. My fear is that perhaps it's going to hit a little too close to home. Because right now, what is it? Nebraska is getting hit by things that look like this. And when your home gets destroyed by something like that, do you really want to go out and watch a movie, a popcorn movie about stuff like that? But the first Twisters movie, I had fun with. Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, and that whole kind of storm chasing angle to it, I dug. And so the second trailer here for Twisters, it worked for me. It did. It got me on board. Yeah, a lot more carnage, a lot more destruction. Twisters, trailer 2, did you guys see it? Universal Pictures. Studio, we are making a sequel to Twister. Ram, how many red trucks do you need? Yeah, because they destroyed a number of trucks, right? All I know is that at some point in the movie, Glenn Powell turns up the radio. I'd better hear Sam Hager screaming, "Shine on, shine on." Yeah, that was good about the first Twisters movie, too. The needle drops was awesome. One of my worst fears is being in a tornado at night when you can't see the scale of it or which way it's moving. Yeesh. Yeah. So that goes to my point of it being a little too close to home, perhaps, right? Rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Food. Yeah, sustenance, right? Yeah, the first movie had a lot of colorful background characters, so I wonder if we're going to get that in this one too. Twisters. Do you guys watch the trailer? What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Bifer says J.J. Abrams received $500 million contract to exclusively make movies for WB and DCEU in 2019. J.J. Abrams movies never got made. Yeah. He's a good fire starter. He's a good ideas man, is what I would say Abrams is. But he has never stuck the landing for anything. And that goes right back to Lost on TV shows. He's good at getting your curiosity sparked, but he just doesn't know what to do with it afterwards, right? Chris Schober says, I have the first Twister movie on DVD, James, and might have to rewatch it again before the sequel Twisters. I don't think it's going to be tied to the first movie. Like there were talks that not Glenn Powell's character, but Daisy Edgar Jones's character was going to be like the daughter of Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton. Tin Man. You'd see that they do deploy similar technology to Dorothy, like you see a Dorothy-type device attached to the truck there. Yeah, in the back here. So, other than that, I don't know if it's going to have much more connection. And by the way, I do echo the sentiment, rest in peace, Bill Paxton. That's one of the tragic deaths in Hollywood where I'm like, man, that sucks. Because he went in for what was it? Some tooth or something wrong with his face or something, right? To get it fixed, and there was something wrong with the way that his anesthetic or something that caused a blood clot or something like that. and they didn't realize till like a week later that that happened, and then of course the cloud went out, and then that was it. Ugh. It was something like that, right? Bill Paxton, true legend. Let's go on. Let's move on to Brad Pitt's Formula One movie. Wow. Top Gun Maverick's director Brad Pitt's movie becomes reportedly one of the most expensive movies ever made. Well, guys, we this is like the top topic of Hollywood right now that needs to get addressed. Hollywood budgets. Last year, Fast X was like 350 million plus. Indiana Jones 5 was $350 million plus. Like, what's going on here? What's with small dramas being like 200 million? I'm looking at you, Martin Scorsese. I don't understand it. So, a new report suggests that Brad Pitt's Formula One racing movie is speeding up the charts of the most costly production of all time. So, are we going to be? Yeah, we're pushing over the $300 million mark for this Formula One movie, and my understanding of the Formula One movie was it was going to go straight to streaming. Like, this was not intended to be a theatrical release. Kerry Condon, Brad Pitt, Javier Bardem, Lewis Hamilton. There you go. Formula One, right? Get him in there. And they wanted him, like Tom Cruise wanted him for Top Gun Maverick. So the director of that, Kosinski, got him for this untitled Formula One movie. Why is it so expensive? Are you late on shoots? Are you trying to get real life footage of cars doing the stunts? This is when you use CGI, guys. Because I'll tell you, Gran Turismo used CGI for their racing stuff, and it looked real. Because we just had Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that just made apes look real. So you can do cars racing on a track that looks real. So I don't understand the holdup here. And then when basically you're not going to get the $300 million back. I'd be very shocked. Very, very shocked if you do. Because that means you probably have to make 500 million, 600 million at the box office. So it kind of like, yeah, you kind of have to put it on theater now. And I'll tell you, Gran Turismo didn't really prove that to bring that back. And even though I like Gran Turismo, Ferrari didn't really make that back. But Ferrari wasn't a racing movie, James. It was more a dramatic piece. Yeah, I understand, but I don't know. And it's definitely being proven that movie stars do not bring people to the theater anymore. It's about the movie. It's about the concept of it. Occasionally, you still get the director. You'd be like, oh, I'm seeing a Tarantino movie. Oh, I'm seeing a Christopher Nolan movie. No one's saying I want to see a Kosinski film. And Formula One isn't as big as they would like to think. I'm curious. I like the racing movies. I like to see them on the big screen and hear the big sound. I do. I just, man, eventually you got to cut your losses, right? There's 300 million plus for a Formula One. I don't see this being profitable at all. Did they give any reasons why? It seems that Brad Pitt's movie is revving up its cost in a total of excess of 300 million. Yeah. There will be a lot of people hoping that this one can resonate with audience in a big way, counter its staggering production budget. Well, yeah, when you spend that much. But as I said, we've got some evidence that perhaps it doesn't. According to Puck, there have been many reasons soaring the budget. Pretty run-of-the-mill done to the death storyline. This was announced in 2021. However, another reason for costs of a relatively grounded movie is that the realism involved is in the film's action sequences. Again, you can use CGI cars for this, guys. Computers got that nailed. They do. And if you watch the Gran Turismo movie, it's seamless. You can't tell where the real car starts and the fake one begins. Like when it's like for the crash sequences and stuff. You can't tell. We'll see how that goes, because some things, I don't know, some things just should maybe never happen. Like Star Trek 4. Chris Pine was surprised by new Star Trek 4 writer hire because he thought that the script was already done. I was wrong. Or they decided to pivot. Yeah, remember last year when J.J. Abrams announced it, saying that we were going to have a new Star Trek movie this year. So they just hired on a new director or a new writer, and Chris Pine is like, oh, that's news to me. I thought there was already a script. We haven't even heard of contracts for us coming back to star in it. Guys, I don't see this happening. They shouldn't happen. Star Trek, I blame the producers for this too, because they thought they could market Star Trek to a wider audience, so they fluffed it up with a lot of flashy visual effects and style that was brought by J.J. Abrams, but the story lacked substance. It took it away from the story, from story themes of what made Star Trek popular in the first place. So you kind of alienated part of the audience, the core audience that made it popular in the first place. Star Trek movies should still get made, but they should only cost at the most $20 million. And if you can't do it, then it's never going to be profitable. Because the box office trajectory of those movies went down. They're not big blockbuster flicks. They're not. You make a movie that appeals to the original fan base, but then you augment it. You put in stuff that will be like, okay, well, maybe this will start to appeal to other people. You don't say, well, let's make a movie that will only appeal to the new people and totally disregard the fan base. You don't do that, and that's exactly what happened to this franchise and what happened to Star Wars and what's slowly happening in the MCU. Is that they're trying to make it for a big, they're shooting for the $1 billion films. And they shouldn't be doing that, right? Because that's what they're undoing. And like, was Joker envisioned to be $1 billion film? No, that was not their mandate. That was not what they were trying to do. They were just trying to make a good kind of standalone Joker movie. It just happened to make $1 billion because it resonated with people. So if you could do that for Star Trek, that would be awesome. It'd be totally awesome. But people just got this, they just don't know what's going on. And it seems like Chris Pine doesn't know what's going on either. You remember that storyline the other day that he was like wondering why Wonder Woman 3 was canceled? Yeah, wow. And it seems like Chris Pine doesn't know what's going on a lot with the business or with his own projects. Why are we getting all these Chris Pine headlines right now? It's because his movie, The Pool Man, has been trying to make a release. But for the people who have seen it, it's getting review bombed, 21%. What's it about? It's his directorial debut. It tells the tale of a pool man that spends his days looking for work. Ugh. A film that so deeply misunderstands what normal people like about movies that it could only have come from someone who's never done anything else. Yeah. Ooh, Ray Wise is in this. Huh. Yeah. So that's why all these Chris Pine headlines are in the news lately. Let's move on to Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney can't wait to start training to portray boxer Christy Martin in upcoming biopic. Now, we just talked about sports movies with Brad Pitt's movie there. I like Sydney Sweeney in Immaculate, and I'm looking forward to her Barbarella. Do they look alike? Does she look like the real-life boxer? I don't know. whatever. Can she do it? Probably. Um, I would expect that at least this won't be like a $75 million movie. So cool. Sidney Sweeney is eager to be squared circle to enter the squared circle to portray pioneering boxer Christy Martin from director David McCode. McCode? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. In the upcoming biopic, the project will fetch a pretty penny at Cannes market. Will it? Dubbed the female Rocky, the film follows Martin as she makes a name for herself in the squared circle. Well, guys, we do like sports movies. We do like boxing movies every now and then, like Creed and stuff like that. A female boxer, fine. But it's a biopic. I don't know anything about her in real life, so it's kind of like, I don't know. So it's like, okay. I like Sidney Sweeney, so I'll check it out. When would this get off the ground? I'm guessing next year, because she's going to do her Barbarella next, was what I understand. Christy Martin not only legitimized female boxing, she overcame gender stereotypes and fought through emotional, physical, and financial abuse. Okay. She said, I'm passionate about the fighting world. Christy's story shines a light on her incredible rise to the top of showing the struggles of fame behind the curtains. Well, there you go. That's the base of the story right there. That's focus in on that. Showing the struggles of fame behind the curtains. That's your emotional backbone for it right there. If you can do that, then I hope it will pay off. I feel compelled to tell a story about a woman who has faced much adversity and didn't allow it to defeat her. It's powerful and emotional. Okay. She's from Virginia in the 1990s. All right, then. Sidney Sweeney. Are you guys excited for that? I don't know. Next. Kristen Stewart. It feels phony. Kristen Stewart blasts patriarchal Hollywood studios. Here we go again. I don't know. Guys, I like Kristen Stewart. She's a good actress. And she's proven that with a really, well, I think, awesome resume. And she's still in one of my favorite movies of the year, in the top 5, Love Lies Bleeding. I didn't think I would like it that much, but it has a lot to do with her acting and Katie O'Brien's acting. So when she's got something to say, I'll listen to her at least. Kristen questions the idea that we can check these little boxes and then do away with the patriarchy. Check these types of boxes, huh? Kind of like making movies about overcoming gender stereotypes, maybe. That's a box that gets checked by a lot of like, oh, is it? We're making a Star Wars movie. We got to check the box here to say that we're being inclusive. It's like, is the character overcoming some kind of stereotype? And it's like, that shouldn't be the mandate, guys. Anyway, okay, so she's calling out some of the phoniness here. She's calling that out a little bit. Quote, I think there's thinking that we can check these little boxes and then do away with the patriarchy and how we're all made of it. It's easy for them to be like, look what we're doing. We're making Maggie Gyllenhaal's movie. Hey, I want to see her Bride of Frankenstein movie. We're making Margot Robbie's movie. What, Barbie? Hey, everybody like that. And you're like, okay, cool. You've chosen 4, and I'm in awe of those women. I love those women, but it feels phony. If we're congratulating each other for broadening perspective when we haven't really done enough, then we stop broadening. I wouldn't say that. And I'll retort Kirsten, by using this example that I just tried to use from Sydney Sweeney taking on this boxing role. Sydney Sweeney is starting her own production company, right? Was it called 50/50 or something? Where she's doing projects like this. So she's making money appearing in other films like Immaculate and Anyone But You, Madame Web. But then she's using her funds to create her own art. That's inspirational. So it's like it's not happening perhaps the way that you are thinking that it happens. Maybe for the big blockbusters. But there's some very interesting women. And Margot Robbie produces her own stuff. So Reese Witherspoon also produces her own stuff. So it's, there's a lot of good women and things that broaden the way things that you describe. You just have to pay attention to it. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. Curious. What do you think about Kristen Stewart's quote? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let's talk about somebody else who's broadening does her own stuff. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift rumored Deadpool and Wolverine character explained. Yeah, guys, they think that she's going to appear as Dazzler, right, in the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. The trailer for that played on Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and it's still, guys, it still makes my mouth seeing the two of them together. The jokes just play off so well. Taylor Swift's potential portrayal of Dazzler in Deadpool 3 could bring a wider fan base, leveraging her massive influence. Well, she's got big influence, and she's going to be directing her own movie too. Talk about broadening the scale there, Kristen Stewart. Taylor Swift is probably, maybe I need to do like a top 5 female icons that inspire me, because Taylor's up there. Margot Robbie's getting up there, but who else? I mentioned Reese Witherspoon's up there with her book club and stuff like that. There's lots to be inspired from. So, over and under 50% that she appears as Dazzler, I think she may, because she's friends with the director, Sean Levy, and they've been seen at football games together. This crew of Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, and Taylor Swift. So I'd say it's a pretty high bet that she may appear, even in a post-credit scene, perhaps. Just for a brief glimpse. I don't think that she'll ever appear in like a broader MCU movie. This is the only kind of context in which she would appear as Dazzler. Right? We'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, we got some hit or miss. We're running way over time today. I apologize for that. We just got caught up with all the live comments and stuff. But let's go in. We got some horror headlines. We're just going to breeze through these. And by breeze, I mean we're going to go fast. Brian Fuller breaks silence on Crystal Lake cancellation rumors, addresses Friday the 13th prequel future. Brian Fuller has set the record straight, revealing a different direction than planned. Yeah. So Brian Fuller confirms Crystal Lake series alive at Peacock, but faces a new direction without him as the showrunner. So Brian Fuller has exited the Camp Crystal Lake series that was going to be on Peacock. No, guys, we talked about this the other day. It seems like, well, they've got the rights for it. They got the rights for Jason. They were going to go into the origins of his father or something like that. It was like, guys, you don't know what you're doing, do you? It's why is it so hard to make a movie about kids that go camping at Crystal Lake and get brutally murdered by Jason? Why is that so hard? Why is that such a hard nut to crack? It shouldn't be, but here we are. The series Crystal Lake, Brian Fuller exits. The series planned to explore the origins or oranges of Camp Crystal Lake and Jason Voorhees, but production now takes on a different approach. And I don't want to get into the legal stuff about the original writer having issues with it, and it was caught up in a big legal battle. It was like that saga has finally been put to bed. So it's kind of like we don't need to redo that. That's why it's been taking so long to get something off the ground. But yeah, Peacock ordered this straight to series order in October 2022. And you're saying that you can't get a script off the ground by now? Ah, it was going to have Frank Volpe, Emily Meisner, Jackie Watkins. So we're going to have some cast here, guys. It just never materialized. So little was revealed about the plans for Crystal Lake, other than what I heard about the chirpings of him, his father, kind of thing. Yeah, whatever. Crystal Lake, going a different way. Brian Fuller no longer involved. Because Jason didn't really show up until the end, guys. Yeah. Not to see. But keeping in the realm of horror, Heather Langenkamp would reprise Nancy for another nightmare movie. Well, hey, a paycheck's a paycheck. I like Heather Langenkamp. This is something that also has been trying to get off the ground. They tried rebooting it, but it just didn't work. A lot of people really didn't like Rooney Mara in that film for some reason, taking over the Nancy role. They said she disrespected the Nancy character. And it's like, did you really hold her in that high regard? I guess a lot of people did. I like Freddy as a character. He's one of my favorites. I think that they could reboot it, but we did a treatment story, full video of it, of what I would do with it, but it would take... This one, I think you would have to be a little bit more creative than just having a bunch of kids being terrorized again in their dreams. This one, you would sort of have to reinvent the wheel to make it fit today's climate. Because people have phones. You're not going to forget Freddy if we've got people texting and making videos of him, right? You'd have to maybe massage the mythos a little bit. But he could still work. And if they wanted to bring her back in some capacity, I'd be on board for that. Next. New slasher horror hits an almost perfect score at Rotten Tomatoes. New slasher flick, huh? In a Violent Nature. Now, I think I saw the trailers for this. I think this was very Grindhouse, right? In a Violent Nature scores almost a perfect score, huh? Very B-movie-ish. Cast in A Violent Nature includes a bunch of people that we don't know. The film was produced by Shannon Hammer. Yeah. What was that? What am I thinking of? Not Valentine 3D or whatever. Oh, that's very dark. You can barely see what's going on in the background there. In a Violent Nature. Yeah, you can barely see that someone is getting hacked to pieces there. What is that one with Danielle Harris? That was like, there's 3 of them, right? Come on, Jeeves. Use your horror brain. What are you... You're supposed to know all these things. She was like in 3 of them. What was that? Stay Home. No. Not See No Evil. Hatchet. Hatchet series. That's what it looks like. Right? Oh. Perfect score, huh? Perfect score. Hey, I like the lower budget kind of stuff. Every now and then. Not when it's cheesy low budget horror like Winnie the Pooh. But yeah. Next. Hostel. Wild rumor states Eli Roth is working on a TV version with Paul Giamatti to star. Really? Paul Giamatti in a Hostel movie or series. There's a series that could be done. I mean, it is about people running a very grotesque business and the clientele. Could you go back to the well for that? Maybe. The Substance. Movie gets the rights to body horror with Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. Yeah, so that's a yeah. Apparently, it's very disturbing. Uh, First look at body horror maestro David Cronenberg's new movie, The Shrouds. What? No, The Substance. That's not David Cronenberg. I didn't realize Cronenberg was. Yeah, it's Coralie Fargeet, May 19th. So that's just around the corner. Doesn't even give the production, the synopsis. I got like Martyrs vibes from it. It's like she tortures people for some reason, does experiments on them, something like that. The Substance. She's like looking for some kind of like, I don't know. Whatever. So it's going to be on Mubi. At least it'll get a release of some kind if you were looking forward to that. That one wasn't very well researched, James. Maybe we're biting off too much here. Yeah, maybe we can do some of these tomorrow. Yeah. All right, there was a trailer for Handling the Undead. I did a reaction for it. I just didn't have time to post it, so I'm going to post that up later on today. A Norwegian horror movie, Handling the Undead. It looked good, so we'll talk about that. We're running way over time today. My bad. Just take a look at some trending stuff here in case we missed it. Kinds of Kindness, the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie. Kinds of Kindness, right? Starring Hunter Schafer? No. What am I thinking? Yeah, Yorgos with Emma Stone. Hunter Schafer. There's Emma Stone, yeah. Weird, man. Fly Me to the Moon, starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum. Yeah, the trailers for that sold me. She comes in and it's very cheeky. She's like the PR department for NASA about the space missions and stuff. So she's like, these guys aren't good in interviews. We got to get them better. We got to make them so they're better speakers. And then it's like, well, maybe we should augment. We'll bring in actors for them. Okay. Maybe we should fake the moon landing too. Okay. Who should we get? Stanley Kubrick? That kind of thing. So it's kind of like, well, it's a little on the nose. If you don't know, yeah, the underground belief, the conspiracy theory that it was Stanley Kubrick that faked the moon landings. So it's like a little on the nose. Of course, you know Scarlett Johansson's one of my favorite. She was the number one for a while, but she's kind of faded a little bit. I think Jennifer Lawrence has leapfrogged her. But good to see her back. She took time off because she started a family, right? New Gollum movie. Yep, The Hunt for Gollum. We talked about that. We talked about the Quiet Place Stage 1 trailer. We talked about the new Lord of the Rings for sure. Pretty Little Liars Summer School. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson for The Outset. Harris Dickinson for the Met Gala. Kinds of Kindness. The Strangers Chapter 1 premiere. Yeah, that comes out next week, right? That's what I mean. Strangers comes out next week. And there's really not that much more. Let's go to... If comes out, but that's a comedy. And that's more like family. That's that Ryan Reynolds Imaginary Friends movie that comes out next week. Of course, guys, I'm going to be prioritizing Strangers, if you don't know. But James, everybody wants to see Ryan Reynolds in a family comedy. See, for me, If would be a streaming movie. But I will go see it. It's just, and then Amy Winehouse movie comes out, Back to Black. Maybe I'll take that in a matinee on the weekend just for myself. I don't expect too much from it, so yeah. And Phantom Menace is still playing, if you haven't seen that. I guess there's been some hubbub over the Phantom Menace because they use the 4K resolution for it, or whatever, where it kind of like smoothed out some of the faces and stuff. And people were like, that's not how it should be on the theater. It's like, guys. See, now that's where the fandom goes a little too far. Where it's like, guys, the tone in his face, the hue is off. It should be a little bit more on the orange side. It's like, for God's sakes, man. It looks better. It sounds better on the big screen. Hey, if you haven't seen Phantom Menace yet on the big screen, go. Yeah, some parts of it are boring, but hey, when they get to Coruscant and it's all about the trade negotiations, you go refill your popcorn. Go to the washroom. Do something like that. Right? Yeah. So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes will have like it'll be number one for 2 weeks. I think it will. And then Furiosa will dethrone it. But that's fine, because we're now getting into the throes of the summer season here. Our Glass Viking says the Flat Earth Society would like fly me to the moon. Yeah, they would. The way that it's very cheeky, though, that the way that they handle it. If you watch the trailers for it. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I know that we've bitten off a lot, so I'll cut out the stuff. Hopefully the audio and everything's been good. Yeah, it was weird when I started up the OBS, because I see my audio meters, right? It was making like this staggered kind of thing, and I was like, what? What? It was weird because I just recorded my reaction to Quiet Day Place 1, a trailer that's up now. It was weird. I couldn't understand. I couldn't explain it. But anyway, hopefully it's all fixed. And if not, we'll be doing some shorts later too. I picked out some good ideas. I wanted to do worst casting ever in a movie. I think that'll get some people enticed. And then I still want to try to get into rude comments part 2. I want to do another crass comments video. Schober says, I'm having a draft beer. Well, I guess it is past noon hour. At least here it is. Draft, though. It is what it is. I prefer mine bottle. Enjoy your lunch, Chris. All right, that's it for me today, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Enjoy Planet of the Apes if you're going to go and see it. We'll be back tomorrow at around the 11 o'clock time as well, too. All right, see you next time. You're watching Your Domains.